you're always ready for love, as long as it's the right person. I'll say it again. You're always ready for love, as long as it's the right person. So basically, it doesn't matter where you are in your life, doesn't matter how much you've done or what you're capable of and all of that. None of that matters. When you find the right person, when you find your soulmate, for example, then that is the right time to be in love, and that is the right time to be in a relationship. You're always ready, as long as it's the right person. And the truth of the matter is, this is one of, and this is, I know I put this at the end, but this is one of the biggest issues that I've seen. You know, about, I would say, 10 or 15 years ago, before I went to Medina, when I remember back in the day when I first started practicing Islam, when there was a revival in the da'wah, there's a lot of speakers coming on the scene and people calling to Islam and all of that. One of the things that a lot of speakers would say, they would always encourage the youth to get married young, right? The scholars and the speakers in America, they would tell young people, like, listen, you're young, there's so much fitna in this society, there's so many issues, so many problems, so many temptations, so one of the things you can do to protect yourself is to get married young. And subhanAllah, because of that whole era, we're actually seeing some of the problems of that era today. And one of the problems is that people jumped into relationships back then unprepared. Right? They were like, okay, the only thing that matters is that I find someone and I get married. So people would get married and they don't understand some basic things that a person should know before they enter into a relationship. For example, just the simple fact or understanding that men and women are different. There are times when women react differently to situations and men react differently. There's nothing you can do to change the person. There's going to be the times when your spouse reacts in a certain way and you just cannot understand it. You have no choice but to accept it. You can bang your head on the wall, you can go crazy, you can pull your hair out, you can do whatever you want, but this is how she understands the situation. Right? And so you just have to accept that at certain times. Like the understanding that there are certain differences between men and women. One of the things the scholars of the past, they would say, subhanAllah, is that, and I think this needs to be revived today as well. They would say that it is impermissible for a person to get married until they understand the rulings of marriage and divorce, the fiqh of marriage and divorce, at least the basic fiqh of marriage and divorce. And subhanAllah, how many people today get married and they don't have a clue? A single issue happens and it's like, I don't know what to do, call the imam, start freaking out because they have no idea. And a bigger issue than that is not understanding the rights and responsibilities that you have as a spouse. And subhanAllah, one of the misconceptions brothers have is that my only responsibility, for example, is I have to provide her with food, shelter, and clothing, right? And especially like, it's something I saw from religious brothers who like, you know, maybe are not providing well for their family. And when questions say, listen, what's the deal? Like, why aren't you providing for your family? And she has certain needs and wants and all that kind of stuff. Why can't you provide that? And he says, listen, shar'an, according to the sharia, the only thing the sharia asks of me that I'm required to do is provide her with food, shelter, and clothing. And subhanAllah, that is a very limited understanding of what the sharia requires. Right? So not having the knowledge of what a relationship takes, and this is why one of the things that I always tell anyone who comes to me for advice regarding getting married, I say always, always, always get premarital counseling. Right? Always. For me, like if someone wants me to do a nikah or something, I'll be like, listen, I'm not touching your nikah with a 10-foot pole unless you can prove to me that you've gotten some premarital counseling done, that you can show to me that you know what it means to be married. You've had to at least think about some of the situations that will come up when you get married, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows